Good morning, everyone. Good Monday morning. Welcome back to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I'm the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. Enjoying a second and third cup of coffee here. Running just a tad late, as a matter of fact. Started out real early, but boy, I've been up to my eyeballs in some fantastic research and some really cool stuff. I'm sharing with you some thoughts on the providence of God. Some viewers have asked me to explain the providence of God. Well, as I have suggested, to say that I can explain the providence of God, no, I don't have that capability. I've labeled this the marvelous mystery. And the reason I do so is because it's one of those topics that is simply affirmed in Scripture. It's taken for granted in Scripture. It's illustrated in Scripture, but we are never given the details about how God accomplishes the details. What we have involved here is a principle found in Daniel chapter 4, a text that we've looked at earlier, and that is the fact that God says He causes nations to rise and He brings them down. He gives the kingdom to whom He wills. God declares His sovereignty, therefore, in the affairs of the world. You know, there's an absolutely marvelous prophecy and promise in Isaiah chapter 9 that speaks of, implicitly of course, the providence of God. Speaking of the birth, ministry, mission, kingdom of Messiah, Isaiah 9, 6 and following says, "Unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given. The government will be upon His shoulder. His name will be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Prince of Peace, Everlasting Father." Now watch this. "Of the increase of His government and peace, there will be no end." Now, this text gives every futurist view severe problems because it speaks of the increase of His government. Well, the increase of the government is nothing less than evangelism, and it says there will be no end. Well, how can you postulate an end of human history, an end of time, where there will be no more evangelism, if the Scriptures affirm that there will be no end to the evangelism and to the growth of God's kingdom? Doesn't work. But here's the question in regard to providence. How will God bring that about? He does not explain. Now, here's what we can do, however. We can postulate, we can speculate, we can infer and imply certain things. For instance, Paul, as he anticipated the end of the age that was about to arrive in AD 70, said that it was God's eternal purpose that His eternal wisdom would be made known in all of the ages. Now, he's looking beyond the end of the age. He's looking to the age to come. And is using a Hebraism, the plural form of the term ages there. But the point of fact is, the important point here, he is looking beyond the end of the age to the mission, the ongoing, unending mission of the church to manifest the wonderful many aspects of the wisdom of God. Just as he says in Ephesians chapter 3, that it was God's eternal purpose that He would might make known to all men, to all of the nations, the many-faceted splendor of the wisdom of God. Now, it wasn't God's eternal purpose to make known His wisdom for 40 years. No, Revelation chapter 21 depicts to us, after the time of the end, after the millennium, after the, quote, final judgment, unquote, we have the nations that have been shown the many-faceted beauty of the wisdom of God, Ephesians 3, and they're coming into the city. Now, that's evangelism. There is nothing in evangelism that is inherently miraculous. Evangelism is the eternal mandate from God to the church to make known His wisdom, to make all men see that many-faceted splendor of the wisdom of God. So when we look at evangelism, when we look at the promise that of the increase of His government there will be no end, we can in this instance say, oh, well, I see God's providence at work because, look at this. The church is supposed to keep teaching, supposed to keep evangelizing, and supposed to keep on teaching those who are evangelized. Again, this is not a miraculous work. This is the church doing what it's been given to do. Now, there are all sorts of hints in the New Testament about the ongoing teaching after the end. I'm not going to go into those this morning, but in 2 Timothy chapter 2, John chapter 20, 30 and 31, and other passages as well, and obviously Revelation chapter 21 that we've already mentioned. All of these imply, if they don't overtly state it, about the ongoing teaching of the gospel after the end. Thus, they provide for us a glimpse into the ongoing providence of God, that His kingdom will continue to grow without end. In this case, the providence of God is accomplished by His followers, by His children, doing what He has given them to do. Hey, thanks so much for joining me for this morning's Morning Musings. Appreciate you joining me. Hope you have a wonderful day. See you on the flip side.